So we are live. I just need to see if it's coming on. Um, we are working on. Let me make sure this is up. So we're working on a couple of different streams, okay? And what we're trying to see is if it's actually streaming across the board like it's supposed to. Um, so you guys who came on yesterday, we had a long one. I'm gonna clip the beginning of that, and because I had it on, view for a long time, we're gonna go ahead and clip the beginning of it, okay? And because we're doing it on a live session, we're just trying to make sure it's coming in live on the rest of the streams. So I have this book up here because this is where we're going to be today. We're in chapter 3. Um, I want you to still, I'm going to take this down for a minute. I want you to still be able to use your ICD-10 book as well, okay? Because you're going to need both of them. You're going to need both of them. And in order for you to kind of get the ICD-10 down, you're going to also need your step-by-step book, okay? Um, one, and we're just kind of hanging out till we see a few. And usually I'll just kind of put something up to let you know that that I'm in the board. But that's okay. We're just trying to see if we got connection across the board. Even if we do, if we don't, it doesn't matter. I just need to make sure um, that we are on across the board. So, all right. So this one is saying that it is offline. So normally we have this chat. We have chat at 6 o'clock, but even if we do not get to chat at 6 o'clock, you guys still have your regular chat, whether it is in the morning or in the afternoon. So I'm telling you, when you have a multitude of equipment, it's like go away. Um, I know they all kind of like combine together. So this class, we don't have our regular hour class. I know it's Saturday. Y'all ready to get out of here and kind of do your morning thing, but we're going to just kind of go over what we did the other day, and then we're gonna kind of go into chapter 3. So this will be a quickie. I'm not gonna keep you guys long because I know I kept you guys long yesterday. I'm just putting this here. If you guys want to go on my website, check out the website. You can also go on. You can also go on the website and you can get your books from there too. Okay. So let me just see what's going in with this. All right. So we're in the Elsevier book. I'm also going to put up my ICD-10 book. So you the same way how I put my books up is the same way how you put your books up, because you're going to have to use them as a resource. If you have your ICD-10, I want you to go ahead and pull up the ICD-10. Okay, so and this is the same thing for all the classes. You guys know I always pull up what I need in front of me. I'll work on that later. I'm not going to worry about that. We may have to do that one different. Okay, so let's open this up. So, okay, that's fine. So yesterday, we were actually going through the step-by-step book, and we were just finishing chapter 2. I'm just dropping some links up there real quick. We were just finishing, these are chats, just finishing chapter 2. Now, you guys should be coding. You should be coding your diagnosis. Now, on this step-by-step book, there were so many wonderful exercises in there for you guys to do. So I am fully expecting you guys to do those exercises by now. Um, we've been in the guidelines for a minute, and you guys know how I am. Hit your guidelines. Um, I don't care if you're just walking around the house and you're just whatever, hit your guidelines. Because the more you retain those guidelines, the better you can code. Okay. Now, in your step-by-step book, I'm gonna put this down here too. So, um, the medical billing and coding Q&A book. I always kind of give you guys something on the YTU, um, or who's ever in the chat. So that link over there is for the book for you guys to go ahead and read, or refer it to somebody if you want to. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this book up, which you guys should have your book already. Okay. If you don't, try going on my website. You can order the book from there. Okay, so in your ICD-10, I'm just kind of backtracking for a second. In your ICD-10, you should have went over your illustrations. You should have went over your ICD-10 guidelines. Okay, make sure you go over those guidelines. There's also a detailed page in here in regards to updates. I know that's a little bit much. You may have something on your test in regards to updates, but it's probably going to relate to the CPT or the ICD-10. Okay. I'm in the ICD-10, your introduction. So your introduction in your ICD-10, you should have gone over. Your illustrations, you should have gone over. In your illustrations, I'm gonna put this one up. In the illustrations, they're like pictures like this that you see. I'm gonna move this over. Okay. And it kind of helps you to retain some of the subject matter that you need to retain. So that's why you guys always hear me say, make sure you retain some of those illustrations in there. Okay. Make sure you retain some of those illustrations. Um, the alphabetic index. We went over the alphabetic index. Okay, so these are just some of the things that I'm just kind of going over as it relates to what we did already, because we get ready to jump into chapter 3 in the step-by-step book. But this again is the ICD-10 book, and this is what you should have gone over already. Okay. Tabular list. We went over the tabular list. There it is. Now, some may be different. Mine's might be different than yours. Yours might be different than mine's. But the coding books are pretty much the same. This is your tabular list. So you want to remember, you go to your index, find your term, and you check it in your tabular list. You remember we went over that yesterday? You guys get that video yesterday. I have to tweak that video, so as I see the front, I just kind of made it a little bit long, but I edited that video. It should be shorter in the front and get right to the class. Okay, so again, just make sure you guys have your books. We went over the chapters. How many chapters are there, y'all? 22 chapters. We went over the 22 chapters, right? You're going to keep going, because in my book I actually have 28, and it's because they have additional chapters in here. But your Z chapter should be 27. Okay, and they all should probably be complicit. And the reason why this is going down to 26, 27, because mine starts with chapter 7, which is actually chapter 1. But your book should be different. Okay, you may have a different book. If you have books, then you have the same thing. Let me show you what I'm talking about. You see how my book starts with 7? It should be 1, so that's why it goes down to 27. Okay, so let's kind of go ahead and get started. So in your step-by-step book, we're on chapter 3. Now remember, last night you were doing, yesterday. Okay, we're on chapter 3 today. So yesterday you were doing the diagnosis. And let me put that up real quick. So some of you that may have seen that chat or may have got in on that chat. You weren't able to see what we were doing in that chat, and that was actually in the exercise book. So I'm gonna pull up the workbook real quick, because there are exercises in both. There are exercises in the step-by-step reading book, and there's also exercises in the step-by-step workbook that are amazing. So those of you who are in this section, and those of you who are also in the Sapphire Academy, as you are doing your work, let's say you are on chapter 3 in the step-by-step book, or chapter 2 in the step-by-step book, then you should be reading your ICD-10 at the same time, and you should also have my video up that relates to that chapter. So on this thumbnail, on this thumbnail, it says Sapphire ED.CLS CDG 10. This is actually 9. I'm gonna fix this. So this is supposed to be 9. Okay. When I go on break, I'm gonna make sure I fix that to 9. It's chapter 3. In the description on YouTube, it should say chapter 3, so you will know that we are in chapter 3. If I have not explicitly written that in the other chapter, I'm gonna fix it right now, because that one should be chapter 2. It still says the same thing. It's identified as the same thing, but I want to make sure that when you guys are working, when you are doing your work, that you're clear on where you are and what chapter I am in. Okay. Same thing with the medical terminology. I put what chapter we're working in. So right now I'm on YouTube. So the one that we did yesterday, I'm going in, and I didn't put the chapter. I said chapter series review. So I'm going to put chapter 2, step by step. Step by step, or what I would put, I'm gonna shorten it, SBS. That's what we used to call it years ago when we were in class. SBS. Okay, and in these chats, if you see something in there where it says $59.99 and $9.99, then my program is actually $400. But if you guys on YouTube, you guys can go ahead and put that link in there if you want to pay for the course from there, and I'll give it to you for what I have in there. Okay, we can get the training for that. Okay, so again, I don't want you guys to do the chapter 1 in the SBS book. Maybe this is why. Chapter 1 in the SBS book, because that's relating to the billing. That relates to the billing. Okay, and that class I actually haven't combined with the medical billing class. But you can go over that if you choose to. Medical billing. Some of you who have not practiced billing before, some of you who are not, used to any type of coding, I would go ahead and do that. Do that anyway. Because I know some of you don't want to do the billing, which it's okay, but you could always kind of backtrack and kind of look at any one of these videos to get you back on track. Okay. So I fixed that video. I fixed the description on the video. The reason I wanted to fix the description on the video is because I need to make sure when you are studying, you're on the right track. Okay, so if you see this is supposed to be 9, so don't worry about that. I just fixed that. I just didn't change this one. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna change it while we're doing this. When I go to break, I'm gonna change it. Follow this. Okay, in the description you will see SBS chapter 1, not in the coding. SBS chapter 2, SBS chapter 3. And it is because when you get ready to archive, I want to make sure that you are on the right video. So let's say today, this is going to be your class 9, but we're supposed to be on, let me put this in here real quick. We're supposed to be on 9, okay, I did put it, chapter 3. So that's the reason why I want to make sure I fix it. And you guys know we're on all of my classes. I always put what chapter that we're on. So, because remember, this is an independent class. So when I'm not on, I want to make sure that you're studying everything just the same. So I'm going to add this in, which I thought I added this in. I'm going to add this one in. I'm going to put image 2, 10, 11, 2, 5. All right. So we're just trying to see if you get the gist of that, because sometimes when I move, the whole thing is like totally lost. So I'm just trying to make sure that what you're seeing is the same thing that I'm seeing. The browser that's actually up there is not the one that has the 9, so we're just kind of updating that one that has the 9 on it, and then I'll close that one and I'll put the other one in there. That one is saying the same thing. Cancel. All right. So let me just get a look at this. Documents. So maybe I didn't put it. Okay, hold on, y'all. Working on it. Here. I must have didn't download it. I'm downloading now. And what I'm doing is trying to make sure that what you're reading, chapter 3, is matching what you're viewing on the YouTube. Okay, it's matching what you're doing on the YouTube. Okay, so let's say you're independently reading and doing your work on your own, which this is an independent class, so that's what you should be doing anyway. Your video is the same. All right. So, and I didn't see anything up there, so you guys can't really see it anyway. But I'm gonna probably switch it out. Okay, there it is. So I don't know why that one also had the same thing on it. I don't know. So again, I want to make sure that when you are studying, you're studying the right thing. All right. So I have this one up here, and I'm just gonna flip out, and I don't know which one it is. Image 2, 210. So we got the class 9. You guys see the class 9 up there. So the class 9. Hold on. Let's just move that real quick, and it should come down in a minute. And that's because I need to make sure that you guys are looking at the right thing. So this is supposed to be 9, okay, not 10. Okay, so as you archive, I'm just putting this right here. As you archive, match the chat with the chapter. Now, normally, like when we were doing language of medicine and I was kind of combining some chapters, I'm gonna put, if I do 8 and 9 together, we're gonna do 8 and 9 together. Okay, but in this case, we're just going to do chapter 3 because we already did chapter 2, but I do go over so I can kind of show you guys XYZ. Okay, so I think we fixed that. We're good with that. Like I said, go over your book so you can see what we're doing. So I'm just gonna go right here. So right now I'm in the workbook, and I'm gonna show you right now. I'm in the workbook because we're just closing out. We finished with yesterday, but y'all know how I am. I get paranoid when we don't see stuff. Um, an overview of ICD-10-CM. So we did that yesterday. We did that yesterday, y'all. But I'm just kind of going over. We finished chapter 2. So your reading book step by step SBS. You should be done. And now you're going into 3. Okay. Now we're going into 3. You should also be doing the coding. So let me just get to that page. So these are the codes that you're looking for. These are the codes that you're looking for. So I'm not there with you. I can't see what you're doing. I don't know what that is. What is that? Class 9. I don't want to click on it because I don't know why it's open. Image. I don't know. So I don't know if you can see this, and I just want to delete that. I don't know what that is. All right. So these are So I'm looking at this on the phone, and I'm looking at it also on the laptop, and I'm trying to see how tiny it is. But I'm on page 8 in the step-by-step book, and you guys were to look at this. You guys were to do the coding, okay? And these are the codes, and remember, we code in reverse. So you're going to do the second word, the second term first, and then you're going to look at the description. So if you see on there, like what we were talking about yesterday, fatigue, chronic fatigue, look for fatigue and then chronic. Look for fatigue and then chronic, okay? You could write your answer right in the book if you want to, okay? And then after that, we moved on today to chapter 3. All right, so we're gonna move on to this. Now, hold on a minute. 1, 2, 3. I just want to pull up the ICD-10 real quick. So you guys see how easy it is for me to kind of flim-flam through different books online. It's easier for me to teach that way. If I was in the classroom, I would have the ebooks up on the screen, and my students would be looking at the screen. I still will have my physical books in front of me. Okay, on the break, I'm going to get the ICD-10 book when we take the break. Break is going to be at 10:30. So I'm gonna go get my physical book there. But everybody, do something good today. Do something good for somebody else. I don't care if it's a homeless person, a pregnant person. I don't care. Do something. So we always have that day we do something good for somebody else. Okay. That book is in there. That book is going to be free to you. The Q&A book is free to you. My program is $400. It's $59 for YouTube students and any of my social media students. Okay, but you have to use that code. I'm assuming this is the grant code. And I updated this last night. This is a grant code to actually get you into my program. So go ahead and put that in on the Sapphire. Let me put this in. Okay, and this is for the YTU. Okay, so you guys go on there and use that grant code. You should be able to download immediately. Okay, so again, this is the tabular list, disease and injury. We must make sure that you are savvy with that. You guys know I cannot stress enough for you on the ICD-10 portion of that. Okay, so so let's get started here. Let me just take a peek at the alphabetic index. I know alphabetic index is the first beginning, and the tabular list is at the end. I'm gonna put it up. So remember what we said yesterday. Um, do we go through? Do we code? I'll put it right here. Do we code straight from the index only? No. We have to check in the tabular list. When you find your code in the index, okay, when you find that code, take your numeric code with you to the tabular list and you're going to check it in there. Okay, and even though we're moving through the ICD-10 section, you're still looking at your pages in your ICD-10, okay? Because you still want to get to know. You guys remember I showed you how to tap that book the other day. Go find that chat. Matter of fact, I'm gonna find that chat for you and put it in here. Tab in your book. Tab in your book. Okay. Um, so that you can easily find what you need. Remember we were talking about neoplasms and all that. When you take your CPC, you won't have to find that quickly. The reason I want you to go through it is because a lot of those codes look the same. A lot of those codes look the same. And you're not going to be able to decipher a code quickly when they look the same. So when you do get your ICD-10 book, you're going to um, highlight the differences in the codes. Okay, so just make sure you highlight those differences. As instructors, we want to make sure that you get the best out of a course. Okay, and I've tried different sites. I've tried different education tools. I've tried different things, and I'm telling you, I'm not gonna lie. YouTube has the best platform to create your teaching how you want. Um, I'm telling you, I've tried several, and they are costly, and they don't do what I want them to do. And the ironic thing is, you're sitting there like, why? And then you go to YouTube, and I can pretty much make this OBS do what I want it to do. I can get the StreamYard to do most of what I want to do. But social media is, I'm telling you, you guys have to get with the social media, okay? So, I know y'all know I get thrown off. And again, just like how you guys are learning how to do the coding from me, I'm learning how to do all the social media stuff. I didn't go to college for that. I would never go to college for that. Like this kind of stuff to learn how to do. The other stuff, yeah, graphics and things like that. But I pretty much can find what I want on YouTube. Okay, now let's get back to the class. Y'all know I get thrown off. Okay, so that's me. That's me. The class 9. That's me. I'm not sure what the new is. What's this? I don't know what that is. Sometimes I download stuff. I don't know what it is on here. This one, and then I just want to take them off because I have so many. What was that? I don't know. Let's take this off. Let's get rid of that. Okay. So we have the Max Saver. We have me. And we have the multi. Now, the multi is supposed to multi across the board. We're going to find out if it actually multied across the board. I don't even know, but we're going to find out. You guys see my little thing right here? I swear I love these little emojis. I can't help it. I'll put them on and they crack me up. Okay, so y'all know I get those up. Okay, so we're going to break at 10:30. I'll come back with the ICD-10 book. So take advantage of these classes. Okay, if you want to join the academy, I will give you a syllabus. Okay, I will give you what you need. Now, in the StreamYard, I have all of the syllabus. I have the classes in there. I have everything in there. I don't know how to do it on OBS yet. I don't know how to do it, but I would give it to y'all. Look at the other. Go look at some of my other live chats, all right? Because I forgot I don't know how to do it. I've never done it in here before, but go look at some of the other chats, okay? And I see something that says start recording, so I don't actually know what that is, but we're not gonna worry about that. All right, so back to the coding. Now we are on alphabetic index. I'm just gonna kind of go through here, uh, and I just want to kind of show you your book, And the reason I want to show you your book is because I'm showing you how you look for the term, and then you're gonna get the code. You look for the term, and then you're gonna get the code. The term is whatever you're looking for, okay? And then you're going to go to the tabular list, okay? Tabular list of disease and injury. You remember? And then you're going to go to the chapter that your code is in. If you have a G code, look at one of these chapters and you say this is the G code. Then you go to diseases of the nervous system. Okay. Now I can't go through the YouTube class like I would if we were having a regular Sapphire Academy class, because it would be too long. But the most thing that I can do is put you guys in the right place. Put you in the right place. And I try to make sure I code these chats to make sure you're in the right chat. So if you remember, if you're on step by step SBS, and you're on chat SBS 3 combined together. So you watch my chat and watch the book. Okay. If you're in Sapphire Academy, same thing for you guys. Okay. Same thing for you guys. Okay. Because basically, I need you to go through the full ICD-10 book. We're going through the full ICD-10 book. Okay, I'm just kind of scrolling down so I can see what else is in here. So I'm looking for the index 1, 2, and 3. I don't see that in here. I don't know why. I wonder why there's nothing. Okay, so they just got it split up. Part 1, introduction, part 2. Then they got part 3, tabular list. So you're going to just kind of go through each one. Okay, just go through each one. And in your workbook on 3, because they're mostly pertaining to what you've already read. So if it says section 4, I'm right here. Let me show you while I'm at. If it says section 4, you guys can see where I'm at, right? Okay, good. If it says section 4, diagnostic coding and reporting guidelines for outpatient services take precedence over the general and disease specific guidelines. Now, we've already read that in the guidelines. So as you can see, 3 is still pertaining to the theory of the guidelines. Just make sure that you answer every one. Now, if you guys are in the Sapphire Academy, you guys have answer sheets to write your answers on. White to you, you do not. So just put them in your notebook or make a sheet for them. This is good right here. So this is practice. Okay, let me get in here. So this is practice. This is ICD-10 practice. So I want you guys to do the practice. Okay, do the practice. If you don't have a book, go to thrift.com and you can get one. If you want a new book, go to my website and you can get a new book. But you have to have your ICD-10 book in order for you to do these exercises. So remember, it's pretty much like what we were saying. You know, when you get ready to do your diagnosis, the diagnosis is the disease as in what's wrong with the patient. Okay, what's wrong with the patient? Okay, I'm going to read this one again, even though you got it. Practical. Assign ICD-10-CM first listed diagnosis, followed by additional diagnosis if appropriate. The first listed diagnosis is the diagnosis that the patient came in for. What's wrong with the patient? If there's a second diagnosis, then that's the second diagnosis as in what may be causing the patient to come in. You see what I'm saying? So in this case that I'm looking at right now, it says established 50-year-old patient with an end-stage renal disease. You remember with currently receiving dialysis. I see 2 codes already. It's seen for acute upper left quadrant pain. So to me, I see 1, I see 2, I see 3, I see 4, I see 5 codes that you can get out of this statement right here. I see 5 codes. Because remember pain where? Quadrant. Right? acute left upper quadrant pain. If you get stuck, let me take it down. I know I'm not supposed to have it up there that long. If you get stuck, go to the back of the book, and your book may only have even or odd answers. If you get back there and you can't find it, and you only got even answers, and you're looking for odd, DB me and I'll let you know. Um, if if you got the wrong code, then look it up. Look up the right one. Look up the right one so that you can get an understanding of why the answer is what it is. So you'll be like, oh, maybe I should have did this and maybe I should have did that. Okay. Um, in ICD-10 coding, looking at the codes and making sure that you have the right one is the reason why we go to the tabular list. So even if you find the codes here, even if you find your codes, I still want you to check them in the back of the book. It is your guidelines. It is the rule of how you look up ICD-10 codes. Okay. Your next one is established patient with complaints of shortness of breath. Upon examination, the physician determined she needed more aggressive treatment for her current congestive heart failure. What's the first listed diagnosis? First listed diagnosis. Okay. They just want you to read it out. They just want you to read it out. So if you say, like the first one is 1, 2, 3, and we got the end stage renal, receiving dialysis, acute upper left quadrant pain. 1, 2, 3. First listed. Other diagnosis. You're going to. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't even have it up there. You're going to write it. You see where it's long right there? You're just going to write it in, and then you're going to put the code in it. They just want you to identify what it is. Okay. I love these. These are easy. First listed diagnosis. Write it in. Write in what you think the first listed diagnosis is. Hypertension. I'm sorry, I'm on 19. Hypertension or end-stage renal disease. So the only thing you're doing is writing in what you think the code is. Okay? I got it kind of small. I'm going to try to make it a little bigger. I can't even see it myself. Alright, so is that better? That might be a little better for y'all, right? So you see right here where it says first listed diagnosis. Write in what you think it is. Now, put your code in there. If you, like this is 19, this is an odd number. In your step-by-step book, you have answers in there. And if it's in your even or odd and you can't get it, just DB me and I'll give it to you. But when you have a question about one of these, just go to the back of your book and you find the answer. And don't just find the answer, look for the answer. So let's say you go to the back of your book and you do find the answer. Go ahead and look for it. Go ahead and look for the answer. Okay, so I don't want you to just go back to the book and get to the answer. I want you to be able to decipher why that is the answer. Let me see if they've given me one of their. I do. So I do have a regular book in here. Let me see. I have a student's step-by-step book in here. Hold on. Let me see something. All right. So let me show you where. Okay. So here. Okay. So I'm gonna use this one. So in here is the answers. Now we grown adults, and I don't go back in the back of the book and you got the answer, because this is free. This is the site for your answer. So in the back of your book, this is what you have back there. This is where you're gonna find your answers at. Okay, and if you see, it says, these are the answers to odd numbers. If you have an even number that you have a question about, let me know. I will give you the answer. We can discuss that. You have to discussion board me in the Sapphire Academy. Send me a message there. Okay. YT, you, I forgot. You're not in the Sapphire Academy. I can't get a DB from you, but you can DM me on YouTube. Okay, but you guys try to join the Sapphire Academy, because I'm very limited here. I'm very limited here. I can't do but so much with you, but um, go get that. Where is it at? Oh, there it is. Get that grant code that I put over there on the side. Okay, but that's just kind of letting you know about the answers that's in the back of the book, how you can utilize them as independent students because you're working on your own. Okay, so and some of you have who haven't gone through your step by step book. Um, if you guys look in your step by step book, in your step by step workbook, you're going to go through everything in that book. Just go right here that we have gone over in the language of medicine and in the coding. I have to come out to do it. So so you guys can see how important this book is and how much you need this book in your training. Okay, as you can see, it says Bucks Workbook Step by Step. Okay, you can also go to elsevier.com and order this book straight from them. Okay, see the overview. This is what we're going to do. Did you guys already see this? This is the overview. Let me see if I got it up. Sometimes I take it down and forget. Okay, so this is the overview. That's using ICD-10. This is where we're going to start using it more. Okay, chapter specific in ICD-10. Okay, stop. Page 33 is where it was the last chapter we're going to talk about. This is the last chapter we're going to talk about. Chapter specific guidelines from 15 to 22. Codes from chapter 17, congenital I can't say it, abnormalities. So you guys know, we are going to go through. You guys know how I do. We're going to go through every single page of the step by step book. Yes, because in my classroom, I did. We did this the same way that I am teaching you on YTU is the same way that I teach in my classroom. The only difference is you are not in front of me, and I usually keep them after school because I give them extra so that they can pass their CPC. You guys that are on YTU, just make sure you take advantage of this. We're not even sure what's going on with the furloughs and the XYZ. One of my besties was furloughed, and we're still up in the air of, XYZ. And, another one of my besties was just laid off. And I mean, you're talking about her being there 24 years and six figures she making. So, anybody who wants to start a new trade, wants to start a new billing, you guys can start here. So again, we're talking about the step-by-step book, and we are actually in chapter 3. But I'm just kind of navigating through the student book. This is the student book that I'm navigating through now, just to show you where those answers are. And the reason I wanted to show you where the answers are, because since we're not in a classroom and you do get stuck, go get the answer from the back of the book and then find the answer. Okay, I want you to find the answer so you can justify it. And again, this is you teaching yourself. I'm going to ICD-10 real quick. This is you teaching yourself. You do not need to spend thousands of dollars for a classroom for billing and or coding. It's you who's going to retain this. So the gist of even the CPC is for you guys to master those books and be able to find your codes. So I'm just gonna kind of go to now. I'm going to the reading book, and now I'm in chapter 3, because that's where we're supposed to be in chapter 3. Um, and like I said, in these books, you see coders, billers, revenue cycle directors. Everybody contributes to these books, so they are explicit. All of them are explicit for you to use. So Chapter 3 is ICD-10-CM outpatient coding. Don't forget, we're going to break at 10:30. ICD-10-CM outpatient coding and reporting guidelines. And you can see everything that we're going to, go over in here. The guidelines, first listed diagnosis. Now, the first listed diagnosis in the workbook that we saw, I told you what it was, even though we didn't go over it yet. But I did tell you what it was. But we're going to go over the first listed diagnosis. Okay, when you hear them say first listed diagnosis, you need to make sure you know what it is, and they give you more guidelines. And you guys know what I always say about the guidelines. Make sure you read the guidelines. And you should have these on index cards, okay? So I just want to jump into that first listed diagnosis just to show you that there is a course on the first listed diagnosis, okay? So in the guidelines, right? This is chapter 3 that we're in. It's still giving you insight on the official guidelines for coding and reporting. Okay, have been developed and approved for coding and reporting by the cooperating parties for I-10. When you hear them say I-10, they're just giving you a short version of ICD-10-CM. Okay, the American Hospital Association. Make sure you know what that is. And yes, we went over it several times, so make sure you get it down. American Health Information Management Association. Make sure you get it down. Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS. Make sure you get it down. National Center for Health Statistics, NCHS. Make sure you get it down. We're gonna, as we go on, we're gonna get into the NCCIs and all of the regulating factors that are involved with CPT as well. But we're going to, we're starting from the beginning, so this is what we're starting with, okay? ICD-10 official guidelines for coding and reporting. Now, you guys remember I said at the beginning of every chapter, you will see guidelines. The step-by-step book is the same way. You're still going to see guidelines. That's why it's literally for you to see guidelines all over the place. Guidelines again. That's telling you how important the guidelines are, and it's really repetitious. It's really repetitious. You're looking at the same thing. Okay, so just make sure you get them down. Okay, make sure you get to, and the book is literally telling you, make sure that you read your guidelines before you even get into the reading of what you're supposed to do. They got the guidelines up already. So I'm on page 46. You should be on page 46 too. Okay, so information about the use of abbreviations, punctuations, and symbols, very important. Okay, very important. Um, this is also very important. Uniform Hospital Discharge Data Set, UHDDS. They may ask you the definition of this. Definition of principal diagnosis does not apply to hospital-based outpatient services and provider-basis office visit. Let me put this up for you. Sometimes when you see stuff, I don't know if you guys have your book, but sometimes when you see stuff, you can better retain it. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about right here, the UHDTS. That was on one of the tests at some point, so make sure you guys get that down. So here we're talking about this is the guidelines. We just kind of went over the guidelines. Okay, and now we're going to continue. I don't know who that is. So let me see. I have this on, but I just wanted to see if it is complicit with the rest of what we are giving you. So this must not be on then. So we have to figure out why. One of my streamers is not on, so I'm just trying to figure out why it's no, somebody just text me that it wasn't on. So the gist of this is, let me get back before we put that up. We're streaming across the board. I'm not sure what's going on with the Twitch one. Somebody just sent me a text that the Twitch is not on. But okay, so they have to jump over to YouTube. That's all. But let's start with the first listed. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this up. So you guys should be where I'm at. Okay, you should be where I'm at. And if you get stuck, make sure you have your. I don't have my index cards here. You don't always have some up to show you, but make sure you have your index card. Write down first listed condition or first listed diagnosis in the outpatient setting. Okay. I know it's not on. I'm sorry, y'all. Let me just tell them to go to YouTube. Sure. Okay, So whoever can't see this on any other screen or whatever, they need to come to YouTube. Okay, so I'm right here. This is where I'm going to be reading from. I'm only going to be reading a little bit. I'm on page 46. I'm kind of like right here. Um, you guys have your book, so you don't really need to visually see everything that I'm looking at, because you should be looking at the same thing. I'm on page 46. Selection of first listed condition. And we're breaking in 6 minutes, so I want to get this in. In the outpatient setting, what is an outpatient setting, y'all? What is an outpatient setting? What is an outpatient setting? In the outpatient setting, the term first listed diagnosis is used in lieu of principal diagnosis. Lieu as in we use this instead of. So I'm gonna read it again. Okay? And I gotta show y'all what I'm at. Alright, some of y'all might have just came in. Okay, we're talking about first listed diagnosis. First listed diagnosis right here. Okay? That's what we're talking about. In the outpatient setting. And then you guys were telling me what the setting was. Okay, in the outpatient setting, the term first listed diagnosis is used in lieu of the principal diagnosis, because the provider may not have given them a principal diagnosis yet. In determining the first listed diagnosis, the coding conventions of ICD-10-CM as well as the general and disease-specific guidelines take precedence over the outpatient guidelines. Okay, make sure you get that down, because guess what? You might have a question that is exactly like that on your CPC. Remember, your CPC, Certified Professional Coder, was designed from all of these books. Your step-by-step, your Higgs picks, your ICD-10, your coding, any kind of coding material that you have, your CPC guide. Yeah, we're going to use the CPC guide at the end of this. Okay, I did bring my CPC guide, but we're not up to that yet, but we do have it. But again, your first listed diagnosis is very important, because like I said, they may ask you a question about that, and you may need to identify what the first listed diagnosis is, not the principal diagnosis yet. Okay, diagnoses often are not established at the time of the initial encounter. Remember, we talked about that the other day. Encounter or visit. It may take two. If you see something that says encounter / something else, it's the same thing. It may take 2 or more visits before the diagnosis is confirmed. So remember, we were talking about the patient comes in and doesn't have a true diagnosis. They just give them the first listed diagnosis, and it is confirmed as the first listed diagnosis in the record. The most crucial rule involves beginning the search for the correct code assignment through the alphabetic index. What's the alphabetic index, y'all? Do we only code from the alphabetic index? No. Never begin searching initially in the tabular list. Never begin searching in the tabular list, as this will lead to coding errors. It will be almost difficult for you to code in the tabular list, because you don't even have a code to look. So you have to go through the index to get the code before you can go over there in the tabular list and check the code. Okay, so we're just kind of remembering what they're saying. The first listed diagnosis. What is the first listed diagnosis? Okay, patient comes in. This is just from the patient. This was wrong with me. All right, so we haven't given them a definitive diagnosis yet. Okay, so they're giving you an example. Select the first listed diagnosis. Let's go back. If you didn't get that, make sure you go back so that you can understand that the first listed diagnosis, we just went over it, and then they're going to give you an example. I'm still on page 46. Okay, but I want you to also get down UHDDS, Uniform Hospital Discharge Data. Definition of principal diagnosis does not apply to the hospital-based outpatient services. and provider-based office services. Okay, coding guidelines for inconclusive diagnosis, probably suspected, rule out. So you guys know that part. I want you to make sure you get that part down. Uh, you're gonna hear that word inconclusive throughout your class. If you see something on your records and you're not sure what it is inconclusive. This is probably, might be, ruled out for the patient. Okay? Were developed for inpatient reporting and do not apply to outpatient reporting. Most important. So if you get a question that says, I know it's 1029. If you get a question that says, can we do inconclusive coding for outpatient? No. It says it was developed for inpatient, right? So make sure you go over that. Make sure you go over that. It's definitely something to me that would be on your test. So, just kind of be precarious of it. So we're taking a break right now. I'm on page 46. Continue to read that. Uh, Break is only for 15 minutes. I probably won't be going anywhere. I'll probably be here. I'm kind of looking for some stuff. I'm looking for you guys. Um, but that is where we're at, because in order for you to do chapter 3, you need to make sure you're good with your step by step in your reading book, and you still have your ICD-10 open. Okay, so let's break. Let's do 15 minutes. I still need to check that other thing that I gave y'all in there. Okay, so I'm gonna break 15 minutes. I'll see you guys in 15 minutes. This one is the one that was shiny. I mean, it's like emergency paper tissue. Emergency tissue.
I'm still trying to figure out how I can write on the books, because I can write in here. See, the things that I can do in the OBS, I cannot do in StreamYard. And I found the way to highlight what I want to in your coding book. The only way, how I have to do, I have to make a screenshot here. But I can also put your book up here in the place of that, any type of video that I put up there. We're gonna figure it out. It's just certain stuff that I can't put up here from the book. Okay, so let me see this way here. Okay, so do those cases, and we're gonna just kind of keep it moving. Just make sure you get those cases in. So it's almost 12 o'clock. I know y'all are going to lunch, but we're still going to be on. I wanted this to be a 2-hour class. Okay, so all right, so we got that. No, we're not copying anymore. Okay, so using the tabular list and instructional notes assigned and sequence the following code, separate multiple codes with a comma and then a space in your response. That's for page 43. So I'm still on page 43, okay? And this is just work that you guys are doing. Now, here's a good one right here. Hold on one second. This one.
Just listen.
I wonder why this is like this. Hold on now. Because this one, was it this one, the window stop, y'all? Beginning.
I'm just waiting for you guys to come back in.
I'm not sure what this is. I don't see nothing. All right, hold on. It could be in the. It could. I don't know. It could be in the back. Window stop. See, there it is right there. But there's no words. Okay, hold on, y'all. All right, let's try it again. Let's hit this. It's
just messing around.
This is it right here. I wonder why it's. Okay, so let's do one. Let's do one, y'all. I have that one. I don't want that one because I thought it was max. Okay. Oh wait, hold on, y'all. I think I know what happened. I think I'm supposed to right click. Wait, let me see. Open source. Okay, so let's do this again.
So as we wait, we're just listening to a previous chat that we had. Some of you may have missed it, so we're just kind of listening in.
All right, don't worry about that. That's just a bunch of I don't know, the books or something I got up there. No Canva, books. So you guys have your book, right?
I'll put this up so you guys can see the books.
I know, I'll tell you. Listen, by the end of this year, I will have this thing down packed. They're going to make me do the free one. They do the one I got to pay for. They keep on. So, I want to put this up there so I can definitely show you guys where I'm at. All right? So, this is where I'm at. Make sure that you guys have your book. They have this book. I got to stop giving away these books. And I give them to Goodwill because they do my class at Goodwill in Connecticut. And whenever I come through, I make sure I
So
give them
this
some
file,
books.
we're just talking about what we
But
did
you
the
can
other
get
day.
this book from thrift.com. It's probably like $20. Not the new one, probably the older one. But anyway, this is where you should be right here. Okay, this is what I'm going over. And you guys know I pretty much do that just to show you where I am in the book. Okay, and I'd like for you guys to have your. Let me put that back up. I'd like for you guys to have your book open. with your ICD-10. So here is also where you're going to do some practice in ICD-10. Okay, that's where you're going to do some practice in ICD-10. Okay, and it's giving you the codes that you need. Okay, it's telling you it's Shy-Dranger syndrome assigned code 523.8. If it is not, what's the right code? So look for this syndrome when you're coding. Sometimes you code in reverse.
Why?
So you're going to look for the second word in the code. Okay, you're going to look for the second word in the code. If you guys have your book, we can go
so
in there.
let me just pause
go
this,
look for ulcer and then look for
then we're
duodenum.
gonna come right back
And
at it.
tell me.
So I'm not sure why this is on there. Okay.
Book. I'll put my ICD-10 book there.
Okay, so are you guys back? So I just wanted to play a little bit of that because that's some of what we did yesterday, and just to kind of give you an insight on some of the classes that we're doing. And while that was playing, I was pretty much just kind of messing around in the OBS. You guys know I love this OBS thing, but we just wanted to kind of play a little bit of that from a different class, and it was just, kind of giving you insight on some of the things that we do, especially for some of the new people that come in the classroom. I wanted to just kind of put some of that virtual audio on, just to, kind of remind you what we did the day before. So when we do our classes, I like to make sure that the classes are in sync. So I have created a playlist for the medical billing. I have a playlist for the coding, and I have a playlist for medical terminology. In my Sapphire Academy, their playlist is a little bit different because it's just kind of expanded, but I'm gonna try to give you just as much. But that was the chat that we did the other day, and I just wanted to make sure that you guys heard some of that because it is complicit with what we're doing right now. So we are back, and we are in the step-by-step book, and we were talking about the first listed diagnosis, okay? And we were explaining what the first listed diagnosis is because in your chapter 3, your first listed diagnosis is in some of your exercises. So you're going to have your step-by-step book open, your workbook step-by-step in your ICD-10. So we were generally telling you what the first listed diagnosis is. So I'm on page 46. In the outpatient setting, the term first listed diagnosis is used in lieu of principal diagnosis. Okay, in lieu as in use the first listed instead of principal diagnosis because the patient may have not been primarily diagnosed as yet by the provider. In determining the first listed diagnosis, the coding conventions of ICD-10-CM, as well as the general and disease-specific guidelines, we did that already, take precedence over the outpatient guidelines. Now, this, like I said, this might be something that's on your CPC. I'm going to say it again because you have to have clarity on this. You can also put this on your index card because we're talking about what takes precedence over something else. in determining the first listed diagnosis, the coding conventions of ICD-10-CM, as well as the general and disease-specific guidelines, take precedence over the outpatient guidelines. Now, in the outpatient guidelines, when you get to that chapter of the outpatient guidelines, okay, I'm going to the step-by-step book of the outpatient guidelines. They're saying that what's in your ICD-10 guidelines takes precedence over that. Okay, so just be careful when you're doing that. Okay, so I'm in the same thing, and now we're going to start doing the selected diagnosis. Okay, so here as well, when we just had break 15 minutes, so here you should have that on here. We haven't been on here long. Did we just start at 9:30? We've been on here an hour already. Oh my god. All right, so selected first listed diagnosis. Established first 50-year-old patient was seen in the clinic for acute bronchitis. Patient also received a prescription for a refill of medication for hypertension. I'm just going to do one. You guys are going to do the rest. The first listed diagnosis is acute bronchitis. Why? Why do you think the first listed diagnosis is acute bronchitis? Because it also mentions that he came in for a prescription. So he didn't initially come in for a prescription. He just happened to be there, and the doctor gave him another prescription because he needed it. So that's why they have acute bronchitis. It says established 50-year-old patient was seen in the clinic for acute bronchitis. And if you can see that addition, I'm going to put it up, where it says also is an addition to him being here. They prescribed him his prescriptions. So once you start getting a feel of that first listed diagnosis and how it works, you'll know what it is, because the questions on the CPC are the exact same type of outline that is here. Okay, so let's do this one. These are examples. These are just examples for you. Initial office visit for a 36-year-old female. Okay, 36-year-old female complaining of irregular menses. Review of systems identified unexplained weight loss. The first listed diagnosis is irregular menses. Okay, you guys know what menses is, so I'm not gonna go into that one. You don't look it up. Okay, that's not something I can go into on YouTube. Join the Sapphire Academy, we can talk about it. Okay, I put the link on the side, and all links are below. Okay, so you guys are going to do that, and right here, when you guys get to right here, this is something I want you to also go over. Okay, because this is a part of your first listed diagnosis, and this is a part of your coding course as far as the chapter 3. The chapter 3 is not that lengthy. Okay, but it's just kind of giving you more of information as to what we're going over. So those examples that you can see as far as the first listed diagnosis is pretty much what the patient is coming in there for. Okay, it's what the patient is coming in there for. And it doesn't mean that that's exactly what's wrong with the patient. You know what I'm saying? So just like a patient is coming in for coughing or chronic coughing, the first listed diagnosis is that the patient is coughing. The permit diagnosis could be that the patient has COVID, or the patient has COPD, or the patient has TB, or something like that. But first listed diagnosis is that the patient, the patient is coughing. So let's do this one. Let's see if we have it up. And like I said, get you a spot where you can do your studying. Okay, the gist of this is to make sure that you're following the step-by-step book and your other book. Okay, I have my coding book here, and it's so heavy, it's ridiculous. In here we were showing you, and this is not a new book because I use the ebooks, but we were talking about how you guys are going to tab the book. Okay, we're going to go back to that in 1 minute. We were talking about how you guys are going to tab your book so you can get to it fast. And remember what I told y'all about the guidelines. Tab them so you can get to them quickly when you take your test. And can you guys see how I went through this whole book. I use this book for class purposes, so I can show you all how detailed this book is at. And I purposely got carried away so that I can show you how the book is tabbed. Okay, so if you need to head back to the guidelines, you can just flip your tab, okay, and go back to the guidelines, okay. But again, you know, like I have my paper ICD-10 book, my manual book, and have the books up here as well. When, like I said, make you a table with enough of room to put up your books. Okay, so let's get back to this. So most physicians will document the chief complaint. Okay, the chief complaint of the patient for each encounter in the medical record. The chief complaint is the patient comes in and says what's wrong with him. Okay, the chief complaint abbreviation is CC. I'm on page 46. Is the reason for the patient present for the medical visit. Why the patient came in. Okay. I guess they give you the whole case, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. The chief complaint is the reason the patient came in. The CC is one of the keys in determining the first listed diagnosis. And you see how they say first complaint, then they say first listed diagnosis, so you know that it is different. The chief complaint is the complaint of the patient. Okay, chief complaint is the pain of the patient. Okay, and that may be on your exam when the patient first comes in and says, this is the issue. Okay. The CC, as in the chief complaint, is one of the keys to determine the first listed diagnosis, not the primary diagnosis. The chief complaint is the reason for the visit from the patient's perspective. For example, a patient consumed a soup that contained shellfish. The patient is allergic to shellfish and develops hives. The chief complaint and the first listed diagnosis is allergic hives due to allergy shellfish, because we already know the patient already had the allergies because they already put it in the notes. So you guys should be on the same page that I'm on, okay? And again, you know, this, like I said, this is the beginning of the coding. This is the beginning of how you're going to decipher diagnosis, okay? And these codes that they have right here, I'm on page 47. L50.0, allergic urticaria. Make sure you get that. I want you to look up those codes. Look up those codes. Z91, you know what the Z codes are. Point, period, decimal, whatever you want to call it. 013. Allergy to seafood. Okay, allergy to seafood. Okay. This is what they coded it as. This is what they coded it as. Other times the patient's complaint in a symptom or a complex diagnosis. This is just reading down below, so you guys make sure you get this. The beginning of what you're reading right now is telling you about the first listed diagnosis, the primary diagnosis, and the chief complaint. So you see there's 3 different descriptions of the diagnosis. Okay, there's 3 different descriptions of the diagnosis. And if you don't remember what the L codes are, let me put mine up. If you don't remember what the L codes are, the N or the Z or the B, whatever that is, I can't see it. Go to your ICD-10 book and look right here. You see when you get to the N, where's the L? All right. So you see where it says chapter 18, disease of the skin and subcutaneous tissue. These are your L codes. So if you get in there and you forget, you know what chapter you're going to go to find this. They're just giving you the answers. That's all they're doing. But I'm just telling you, you know, as you do this, any codes that you come across, look for them. Like any codes that you see right here, look for them, because it's going to get you used to looking for the codes. This is why I always used to have, well, I still do. I always used to have this here. I don't know how I'm going out of town, but I'm wide awake. I gotta check it out. I keep my book here. Well, you're going to keep your book with you, not only so you can look at the illustrations in the book, okay? Because remember, there's illustrations in your ICD-10. But to keep your ICD-10 book right here, you don't have to get a new book if you're not taking your test within 5 months. Get the old book. The new codes will show up in the new book when you get ready to take your test. Any codes you come across is going to help you navigate through your ICD-10 book. Okay, you're just looking for them, and that's going to help you get used to looking for your codes in this book. So when you come across codes like these that just kind of show up and they're in your exercises, I would pause and I would still look for them just so that you would be comfortable looking for them. Okay. Okay, so let's move on. So there are other exercises. Let's just do this one real quick. The patient may also schedule a visit without a chief complaint. And as examples, the patient requests a physical to qualify for insurance or may be an expectant parent seeking to establish a pediatrician. The reason for these visits can be reported as first listed using these codes. Now, right here is where you use the Z codes. So you guys remember when we talked about the Z codes the other day, the Z codes are for examination. The Z codes are for primary care visits. So they need to have a visit for their insurance or they need to have a visit for their job. So that's the reason why the Z codes are here. They already gave you the codes. They gave you the codes already. They're showing you how to pinpoint the first listed code. Go look for these two codes just to get yourself again familiar with your book. So how are we gonna look for those codes, y'all? Because they gave you the code. How are we gonna look for the code? The description is already in the report. That's up on top. Up on top of it is the report. So you already got the description. Only thing I want you to do is go look for those Z codes. Where are you going to look for those Z codes at? Good. In the tabular list. So when you go to your tabular list, right? I'm going to switch over here real quick. You go to your tabular list and you're looking for that Z code, right? And you can't remember. In your ICD-10 book, it should be a page in there, but I'm on the ebook, so all I'm going to do is just click on it and it's going to take me there. But if you are in your physical book and you want to go to the chapter specific and you want to find it, I would look for your Z code. Okay, look for your Z code, factor influencing health status and contact with health services. If you have an ebook, you're going to click on the Z codes. If you have your physical book, you're just going to turn to it. So if you go to your physical ebook and you go to your chapter specific, it's going to tell you where they're at. But this is one of the reasons why we tab the books. So if I'm in my book, I know I'm already in the tabular list. But I'm going, see how you can't see it, but how I have my book, I'm going to put it up. Let me put this up just so I don't know how you can see it because I got the background thing. So all right, so let's get rid of this for a minute. So see how this is right like this? And you can't see what page I have on there. Let me see. You can't see the page that I have. But I want you to get the notion of, there I go. Now you can see it a little bit. See how I have it? 00074. I have it tabbed all the way down. I guess because I'm moving, this thing is tripping out. I have a tab in there that has a Z on it. So when you taking your test, and you need to get through it real quick, boom. That's the reason why you tab your book. Go to my website, go to the bookstore, I'll sell the tabs in there. I sell tabs in there that's already done where you don't need the book. Not the book. You don't need the labeler. I got to put the labeler in. I forgot about the labeler. I have like 50 labelers. I put them in there in case you guys still want us to use the labeler. But that's how you're going to tab your book. I want you to tab your book like that. So when you take your test, it's quick. You're going to get there quick. But this is the section, right? And it's telling you what the Z codes are. You may have something on your test to say, well, what is the Z codes? Factors influencing health statistics and contact with health services. Now, what if you got your test? I was just saying an example. What if you're on your CPC, your Certified Professional Coder, and they ask you that question and you need to get to it, and you just don't have time. And then trust me, the AAPC is not going to explicitly say factors influencing health services and contact with health. They're going to flip this thing around, change it around, put some other words in there, and you're going to have to decipher it. If you have not retained that full description, that's what the tabs are for. Boom. Hit that Z chapter, you know exactly what it is. But you're going to have to be quick, because remember, how much time do you have for each question? 2 minutes. Okay? 2 minutes. Now, did Miss Lambert want you to spend full 2 minutes on open and close questions? No. Did we forget what open and close questions is? No, I will show you what opening questions. Remember, I showed y'all what opening question is. Okay, let me find one. I think I still got the other test up that I gave y'all the other day. Hold on. I don't know where it is. But an open and close question on your CPC is just a plain, I don't know what that is. A plain multiple choice question. Here it is right here. Let me find y'all an open and close question. When you guys hear me say open and close question, I'm gonna take a question from my HIM test. Okay. Here. Let me put this up here. I'll put this up here right now. Well, I can show you on my screen. Hold on. I don't know how to do it, but we're gonna figure it out. Okay, hold on. So. Let's get to an open and close question. An open and close question is when AAPC asks you something and they just want one answer. Okay? Let me see how come this is doing this. Okay, that's the max screensaver. I should be able to pick another one for y'all. So hold on. Max screen. Capture 2. Alright, capture 2. Alright, so I'm gonna pull this up for y'all so I can show y'all what an open and close question. I'm going to use my actual, alright, where it is, here. Alright, so let me pull this up. So this is my HIM test. We saw this the other day. This is a test that I give if I'm hiring a coder. All the coders take this test. Even if she doesn't have her CPC, I hire her anyway. Why, Ms. Lambert? Because if she can pass my HIM, I'm going to hire her anyway, and I'm going to give her time to take her CPC. I'm not the only one. A lot of instructors, teachers, revenue cycle management, we're not mean like that. We do give a break. Okay, I have had coders who have trained themselves the same way I'm training you and passed their tests and don't know anything about coding. And, she was so afraid. And I said, don't worry about it. You passed your test. I'm going to guide you along. So in this test, you see this answer here? Okay, this is nobody's test. This test belongs to me. A 6-year-old, not that one. I want to cut and dry one. Well, that's the open and close question too. We do that. A 6-year-old patient presents for administration of DTaP DTaP vaccination, assigned codes for administration and stuff this. Now you guys can mess with this if you want to. Mess with this if you want to. You want to mess with these codes, mess with it. You don't have to pause this and then get it. This is one of the tests that's actually in my Sapphire Academy. Okay, this is one of the tests they take at the end. But I'm putting it up here. Okay. 9. Which of the following terms refers to pain? Okay, these are what we call open and close questions. You got 2 minutes for each one of these questions. Okay, you got 2 minutes for each one of these questions. If you can knock this down to 1 minute, that gives you more time with your longer cases. Okay, it gives you more time with your longer cases. If you cannot, this is a pretty, this one is long. Okay, now here's a long case. This is not an open and closed question. You see this one right here? That's not an open and closed question. Why, Ms. Lambert? Because you see how long it is? You're gonna be a minute with that. You're not coding that in 1 minute, in 2 minutes. You're not. You know what I'm saying? Unless you just straight the expert and that's your specialty field. So that's the reason why I want you to do open and close quick, get out of there, and save some of your time for the long ones like this. Now, from you might have a case from here to here on your CPC exam. This is the reason why I want you to be savvy with the quick open and close stuff, because when you get to these, you're gonna be a minute. You're gonna be a minute, okay? This is like something small, still considered to me an open and close. It's looking like a 9-9, so I know that it's a medicine visit. You know what I'm saying? I know it's a medicine visit. You see these with the 9-3s and also the 9-9s, you know it's going to be an ambulatory visit. The patient she's still in and out because of the 9, but it's still going to take you a minute to do it. Okay, so I don't know which one it is. So just just kind of be precarious of when you're training yourself, because it seems very easy, but in a lot of cases it takes a minute. It's going to take a minute. Okay, so let me put the other book up there. Well, we already got it up there, but at any rate, this is your Z section, and that's pretty much letting you know what the importance is of tabbing your book. And like I said, in the bookstore we have them there. You can get them from anywhere, Amazon or whatever. You can use the labeler and type out Z00 whatever, put it there so you can flip real quick, or you can buy the labels already made. Okay, so let me take this down. So like I said, when you get ready, let me just go in here. When you get ready to do your coding, I'm gonna take this one down. When you get ready to do your coding, look for the code. Look for the code that's in there. So if you have any questions, just look for the code. All right. So is influencing factors up there? Because that's what's supposed to be up there. Okay. So as you can see, there's guidelines. It's guidelines. It's guidelines and everything. Trust me, you're gonna be eating and sleeping guidelines. You're gonna be eating and sleep. You're gonna be laying down and you're gonna be sitting here talking about, I gotta read chapter this. I gotta read chapter that. Because at that point, this is your go-to. At that point, this is what you want to do. And sometimes I have students that start my class in like a week or two, and then I won't do it no more. But guess what? You didn't get a student loan to find out that you didn't want to do it no more. You joined a free class and you found out that you didn't like it, it's not for you. Or you found out that coding is just too much. You didn't have to waste time with a financial aid officer or an admissions officer. You see what I'm saying? You went to Miss Lambert's YouTube and you was there for about 2 weeks and you said, I don't want to do this no more. But you ain't missed nothing. If you ever decide that you want to come back to Miss Lambert class, the classes are already numbered. The classes are in order. You know where you left off at. You know you can DB Miss Lambert, DB as a discussion board and say, Miss Lambert, I want to jump back in. Okay? So, again, it's a lot. I'm not going to lie. It's a lot to the class. It's a lot to the class. If you have the proper instructor, you can get what you paid for. You can get what you paid for. Not no $27,000 or $20,000. I don't even know how much it costs. Y'all look it up. So this is homework. This is homework. Look up. I hate. I don't know why this is on cap, but y'all know I hate capital. Look up a medical billing and coding school. Look it up. What else you want us to do, Miss Lambert? Find out how much it costs. Find out how much it costs. That's 2. The next thing I want you to do, look at the courses they give you. Then I want you to look at the courses I give you. I'm not giving you sociology and other nonsense that has nothing to do with coding. I don't need any of the extra silly stuff that they give you in the college for billing and coding because it's useless. They have to give you all this extra XYZ so that they can get the financial aid. What you need to do is you need to pass your certification, your certified professional coder or certified professional biller. You going to college and paying for those those lessons, and you come out of there and I give you a HIM test and you can't even pass that, then okay, you just wasted $25,000. Okay. No, that's a true story. I've had people like that. Oh, I just went to school for that. Oh, I just finished. And not to mention they already working at the hospital. Okay, and okay, so let me give you this test and let's see if you can pass it. Clueless. And I always invite people like that to take my class because it's free. And even if you went to college, even if you went to so and so, and you put that money in there, know that there's something on the YTU that can help you. Know there's something that can help you on YouTube. Okay, so 150. We got 10 minutes left. So these are the Z codes. So that's what I want y'all to do in that section. Okay, let me go to ICD-10. So that's the reason why we jumped into ICD-10. Okay. Now let's go back to the book step by step. Let me see if I have it up. Okay, I have it up. So in this book, oh, and I want y'all to check out, also find out what books they use. I taught the class. I was a lead instructor. I then became the director of the school. So my categories became HVAC. My categories were medical assistant, medical coding, and IT. So I can't explain or express anymore. You guys need to read my bio. My bio is actually in my chat if you choose to. But you tell me, you give me differences of the course that I'm giving you versus the courses that cost you $20,000. And yeah, I had student loans. I had student loan students. And that's the reason why we decided to make this program. I did not, I felt bad enough. I'm teaching them, and the whole time I'm teaching them, it's like, why do they need to get a student loan with this? It's going to carry and burden them for life. It's just, they'll be paying. And that's why, we came up with this. And my regional director to this day, he was actually the director, and I was the instructor lead. And he told me, I want you to create a program. And you guys know I was clueless, and I always tell this story. And eventually, I created a program. I changed the medical assistant program to add coding in there. There was actually more coding in the medical assistant program than there was in the medical billing program. Really? And did you know that the medical assistant program is more than the coding program? Go see. Go check it out. Go see. Look and see. Which I'm going out there Monday. Look and see. I'm going to a school that has the program in there. They actually outsourced the billing program, and the billing program is $22,000. I can't tell you what school it is, but I'm going to visit that school. The medical assistant program is more. Why, Miss Lambert? It's actually because they're doing also hands-on, and the medical assistants actually handle the intake. So the medical assistants actually make more than the medical billers because they do more. I know it was crazy, but anyway, I flipped the whole thing. I gave them what they were supposed to get. We tweaked the medical assistant program, and we revamped the whole medical billing and coding program. Because the medical billing program was focusing on medical billing and this much of coding. I was totally lost. I was like, okay. Day and night, I figured out how to revamp both of those programs. So, what I'm giving you is not from, I'm just want to play around on YouTube. Or, you know what I'm saying? And this is real. I really do teach the class. And as far as revenue cycle, I do revenue cycle director and I hire. That's what I'm saying. When you go in there, even if you have not taken your certification, don't be scared. Put in for the job anyway. If you think you know enough for coding, put in for it anyway. She's still gonna give you a him, but put in for it anyway. I'm talking away. Okay, we got 8 minutes. Okay, so this is where we're at. And we're in a step-by-step book, and we're in chapter 3. Okay, so like I said, any codes I want you to come across, I want you to go ahead and do them. Okay, so first list of diagnosis without the use of reference material. Answer the following. Use your book. I'm not gonna have you do these without messing around with the book. Okay. The term first list of diagnosis is used in lieu of. They're giving you the questions of the guidelines that you just read. So they're giving you guidelines on first listed diagnosis. Okay? So that's what they're giving you. They're giving you the guidelines on the first listed diagnosis. Okay? And again, if you guys want to take this down, you guys can take this down, and you guys can go ahead and pause that if that's something that you want to do. Okay? And we're going to go ahead and take this one down. So, like I said, in your step-by-step book, this is where we are. We're in chapter 3. So this is what you should be doing, chapter 3. Okay? Official guidelines for coding and reporting, outpatient surgery. Now, this is going to be a continuation class because I want you to just do first listed diagnosis. I want you to get used to first listed diagnosis, 2 or more visits before a diagnosis. This is going to be a long class. Unconfirmed diagnosis, definitely the unconfirmed diagnosis. The first listed diagnosis, I'm on page 47. I may come back at you in the morning. I'm gonna come back at you before church because I need to get a little bit more of this in. We're already 2 hours in, so often it may take several times. So we're going to do. I think I'm gonna do a class tomorrow morning. I'm gonna try unconfirmed diagnosis. I want to do unconfirmed diagnosis. Not this one. I want to do unconfirmed diagnosis. Okay, 2 or more visits before a diagnosis is confirmed. Okay, the step by step shows you how to code step by step. Unconfirmed diagnosis, outpatient surgery, adding additional diagnosis, codes that describe signs and symptoms. So I could tell you right now, this is going to be more than likely a 3-day class. So this is going to be a 3-day class because I want whatever codes you guys come across, I still want you to look for the codes. Okay, I still want you to look for the codes. So in this class, we just did the first listed diagnosis, right? Now, I don't want you to mess with your workbook until you actually finish with this. Don't mess with your workbook, okay? So your first listed diagnosis has exercises. You remember the codes. Look, I want you to look for these codes. Which one is it? Look for these codes. Okay, look for those codes. I'm going to leave that up because we're going to use this same screen tomorrow. Because I can see right now this class is going to be a longer. So you guys know I told y'all the coding classes are a lot longer than the other classes. Just make sure you have your step-by-step book. So I want you to get that. First listed diagnosis we did. This is what we're doing now, so you guys can do that. So remember, this is your theory, and then you will be practicing. So this will be a 3-part class because we just did first listed diagnosis. The diagnosis that I just showed you guys, make sure you get them. Make sure you do the exercises that we just did. And the reason why this is going to be a 3-part class is because there's a lot more in here that you do need to do. Okay. So let's take this down. I know I got a minute and a half. So COP, the chief complaint, identify first listed diagnosis. So the only thing that you're going to do as far as exercises is you're going to do the first listed diagnosis exercise in your reading book. Do not do the workbook yet. Don't do the workbook yet, okay? And then tomorrow we're going to do unconfirmed diagnosis. Unconfirmed diagnosis we're going to do tomorrow. All right. We're going to try to do outpatient surgery together, but I doubt it. I think we're going to do this tomorrow. Let me see the first one. Right here. Unconfirmed. Okay. So I don't know which one it is. Is that it? Okay. This is what we're gonna do tomorrow. I'm gonna try my best to do another class tomorrow. Tomorrow's chat will still be chapter 3. So tomorrow's chat will be 3A. Tomorrow's chat will be 3A, then there will be a 3B, and then more than likely a 3C. Okay, before we even move on to the next chapter, uh, this is the next chapter after this, but we are not moving on from the guidelines yet. Organization, okay. That's gonna be fun right there. This one's a little lengthy, so we more than likely have 3 sections. When you guys see me drop that thumbnail, when I drop that thumbnail up there, we're still working on this. When I drop the thumbnail up there, it's going to be chapter 3A. So it's going to be class, what is it? Not 3A. 3A. Class 10, chapter 3A. So we still on that chapter. Okay. So my time is up. It's already 2:00. Thank you guys for joining. Make sure you guys can recap this over and over. Make sure you guys look at those side notes over there. We talked about a lot over there. Okay. Make sure that you do your studying. You guys can drop me a DB and let me know about this new thing that we got going on. I think it's less confusing than the other one. I don't know. You guys let me know. But this class is over. The stream will stop. So look out for those thumbnails that I'm getting ready to drop up there. Okay. I'll see you guys